All right, Katie, Anna, so let's break down some of the science behind the forecast because we have a pretty unique pattern for this time of summer. Weather is started and driven by two processes. We either have big synoptic scale processes that start weather, particularly rain, or small scale processes. We call that the mesoscale, also can start rain. So we kind of look at both when looking at weather. The jet stream in this map, your 500 millibar that we often show you, is a synoptic large scale driver of weather. And you can see that here where the jet stream in the trough is really coming down. You see weather kind of starting here around it, but you also see that down here in Louisiana there's no big scales pushing it though. So what causes it? Because right now we're sandwiched in between two high pressure systems, so not a lot of transition in the weather pattern. We're quite stuck, and yet we're seeing rain pretty consistently. So where is it coming from? That is our mesoscale. So small things happen, and storms that do form can actually fall apart and then trigger more storms. So it's like a little domino effect, and that started today and is what kicked off the weather. And you'll see it here where storms had started around Houston, and as they lost their energy, you can see them kind of propagate outwards from those storms. That's an outflow boundary. That's a mesoscale process. Very hard to model, but once that gets going, storms form in the wake of the outflow boundaries, and you can see that happening, especially when the two go ahead and collide here in Arkansas. I talked about that in the 6th, and you can see where those two air masses met one another, storms got a little bit more intense. So a lot of the weather right now is mesoscale driven. And why am I telling you all of this information? Because tomorrow for Father's Day, it's really going to be the main driver again. But looking at the rain we've gotten over the last 24 hours because of this, it may be a small scale feature, but if there's enough water in the air like there is now, you see very efficient rainfall out of these storms. And you see that where Lafayette got another 3 inches today. So small little feature that's triggered them, but lots of rain because of it. We're still so high for the year. We've gotten so much rain. Another risk of heavy rainfall sits with us tomorrow as a similar situation sets up to where all of the area that is contoured in this green is a marginal risk for excessive rainfall, which means we see the potential for those flash flood rates to occur again tomorrow. So any of those storms that do happen are incredibly efficient. And I talked about it being a mesoscale feature. You see that tomorrow where storms kicked off, we've got a sea breeze that comes up, meets an air mass boundary, and then storms initiate. And I think this is really a good depiction of what we can expect tomorrow for Father's Day, where storms start around 11 to 12 o'clock and become much more widespread as the afternoon goes on. The atmosphere heats up the surface, that boundary gets much warmer, and these become very efficient storm producers. But as you can see, not everybody will have them. They stay scattered and isolated in nature, although very efficient as they go on. But thankfully, as the day goes on, it clears up, and then Monday, rinse and repeat until that upper air changes. The weather is going to be repetitive in the nature of these types of isolated afternoon storms. The sun goes down, they go down with it, and unfortunately not taking the temperatures with them. So tonight you can expect us to stay in the 70s, rain tapering off as we get into the early morning. But tomorrow for Father's Day, storms happen to return. A high of probably about 90 degrees can be expected. Rain chances, we put 70%. Some people have them, not everyone will. Thankfully, hurricane season nice and clear for the next 7 days. And then your 10-day forecast, it's really similar. As I said, staying with us through the rest of the weekend and then through the work week as well. Rain chances well above normal, but thankfully with the start of summer being Friday, rain chances are going to start coming down and temperatures will start going back up. So be prepared for your Father's Day, hot, grab an umbrella, and then the rest of the weekend and the week, rain chances linger on.